How to run a marathon. Find and register for your closest marathon.
Right where the orange cones are, yep.
Full night's sleep. Try not to shoot yourself.
Calling all full marathoners.
One thing about the race is it's not actually a closed course. So the scenery is really beautiful if you're considering doing this race. The medals, another awesome thing about it are the medals are beautiful this year and in past years as well. The medals are great. So my whole goal at the beginning was to go slow. I wanted to make sure I could maintain my strength throughout. So I really just started the first mile, even though I was so anxious and excited. I started the first mile as slow as possible, and it ended up being around a 9-minute mile. This was also my first time running in the shoes, so I wanted to really feel them out. And I will be honest, I was blown away. They were soft, they were cushiony, they felt springy. I felt like it was just kind of propelling me forward, and I didn't feel any pain obviously at first, but it was hard for me to kind of keep myself from going too fast because I did feel fast with those shoes on. So after about the first mile, which was dedicated to my husband, I kind of felt like I could move a little bit ahead, and the race did have pacers. So I found myself going a little bit faster, kind of settling into the 8-minute, 30-second pace. The mile-by-mile dedications were really helpful. They kind of just made the miles fly by. And since I was trying to keep a slow pace, I was actually able to record some on Instagram.
I said no, don't wear those. You're crazy. Love you, Liz. I'll be thinking about you. Mile 4. So far, feeling great. All right, guys. I think this is going to be my last one. It's getting hard. I'm on mile 6. Still feel good. This mile is dedicated to my beautiful daughter's boyfriend, Ross, who is Scottish and adorable. So the whole time I'm going to be saying Scottish. I'm talking Scottish.
The other thing I used while I was running, I had my headphones in one ear, and I use an app called RUNTEMPO. That helps me control my cadence, and I really wanted my cadence or steps per minute to be a high number because that helps you run more efficiently. So I was able, using that app, I was able to keep a 180 average cadence, which is very good for me. So the cool thing about the race is about the halfway mark, about 13 miles, it will take you through the St. Andrews State Park, which I love and I think is just beautiful. By the time I had gotten to that halfway point, I felt really good, and I was keeping about an 8:30 pace, which was pretty good. Mile 9 was a little bit rough going through the neighborhoods before the park. I called my friend Carrie, she didn't answer, but like I said, once I realized I was at the halfway point and still felt good, wasn't in pain, I just got kind of a surge of energy, and
Okay, mile 9 is for Carrie Baker. She didn't answer her phone. I tried to FaceTime her, and yeah, so the whole mile 9.
Great. So we made it through the park. I dedicated mile 13 to myself. You gotta dedicate a mile to yourself. And then we were running back through the neighborhoods. Now this was probably the roughest point, or one of the hardest points in the race. There's no one really out in the neighborhoods. There are water stations, but sometimes people aren't even at the water stations. And sometimes you can get lost. There's arrows leading you through, but I was lucky enough to have at least one runner in front of me that I could kind of follow, because otherwise it can get really hard. A lot of the miles I dedicated to my oldest son, who passed away in October 2018, specifically mile 17. I knew once I got up to mile 16, since it was my furthest distance, it was going to be one of the toughest miles. I got through that mile, but I started slowing down at that point. And at mile 17, which was dedicated to him, the sun came out for a moment, and I just let the warmth wash over me, and I was just really kind of overcome with emotion, and just kind of went inside myself at that point and thought about him and focused on him. And then mile 18, I got to mile 18, and I stopped and drank a whole cup of water at the water station, and it just hit me hard with a side cramp, or some people call them side stitches. I know from past experience it's from running or drinking, eating or drinking too much before I run, and usually you can't run through it, it will just get worse. So mile 18 was actually the one I dedicated to God, and I just slowed down to a walk. I told myself, I gotta get through this. I prayed a little bit, and somehow after a couple minutes of walking and deep breathing, I was able to get past that cramp. So I picked up the pace a little bit. I counted from 5 down to 1, and when I pulled myself through those neighborhoods and was crossing the street, there were some police officers, and I felt good. I had a smile on my face, and I felt good that felt like I was making progress back towards the beach side. So I tried doing a technique that I heard about in the Rogue Running podcast called fishing. So that basically involves finding someone ahead of you and trying to catch them. So all the way up to about mile 20, I was doing the moving meditation, I was fishing, I was counting. It was a rough time, so I was pretty much doing anything I could. So as far as pain when I was running, obviously everything is in pain when you get to mile 20. But I was trying to balance out my hamstring. My right hamstring was definitely bothering me depending on how I was landing my feet. So I was trying to land that as smoothly as possible. And my toes were kind of going numb, which has happened to me a lot during those long races. So I was trying to wiggle my toes and just kind of loosen up everything. Obviously at mile even 20, but between miles 20 and 24, I knew I was going to be able to accomplish my first goal, which was finishing this thing uninjured. But then I started to realize how close I was to a Boston Marathon qualifying time. When I looked at my watch and I saw it was 3:30, I was like, oh my gosh, if I can get there in under 10 minutes, I can get 3:40 and I can qualify. And I started to kind of get bummed out by the fact that I just didn't think that that was going to happen. So even though I wasn't going to be able to get a BQ, I was like, well, darn it, I'm going to get there as fast as I possibly can. And my last mile 26, was dedicated to my baby girl, Emerson. So I was just visualizing holding her at the end and just picking her up. So that last mile, I actually was able to get my pace back down to 8:30. I did pass a few people. I think they were marathon runners. There was also a half marathon, so I'm not sure. But I was passing people instead of getting passed. And it was painful for sure. I tried my best to push my way through the pain, and I just kept kind of finding a spot to focus on at the end. And near the turn at mile 26, I see my husband there on the corner, and he brought my kids there and my daughter to cheer me on at that last point of the mile. And I mean, I was smiling and crying tears of joy. It was just the most amazing feeling in the entire world. You can't really describe the feeling that you have when you cross that finish line of your marathon. Every marathon, it feels amazing, but it's just a mixture of exhilaration, excitement, achievement, pride, nothing like I've ever felt before. And you know, if you've gone through something or you're going through something and you just want to feel happy, you just want to feel alive, it's those moments that I do this for. And if you start off the marathon and think, why do you want to do this? What is your why? Well, my why is to feel alive. While we're here, we're not going to be able to run this forever. I want to feel alive. I want to feel this while I can. So I finished. My husband brings the kids over. I'm so excited. When you do stop running, finally, that's when the pain hits you. The pain is no joke. My hamstring hurt. I mean, everything. Everything hurts. But primarily my toes and my hamstring were just killing me. So we limped over to Margaritaville where the awards, you get a free beer. We also got the best Kona Ice slush ever. It was tiger's blood, delicious. I mean, the coldness. I wasn't really hungry, but the kids and my husband were, so we went to BW3. I knew my time was 3:50. I knew I finished 39th out of 140, but I didn't know in my age group. And so we were listening to the awards being called off, and they finally got to my age group, and they said, you know, ages 35 to 39, first place, and they said my name. And I just screamed. I was holding my baby girl. We went up to the front and I got my awesome gold medal. Got the gold medal and I was just like beyond ecstatic. I mean, the whole day, every part of the marathon, I couldn't have asked for better conditions. Like I said in the beginning, I have to thank God because everything just lined up in this race. The shoes worked out great, the visualization, the techniques. I was able to push myself through. It was one of the best marathon experiences ever, wasn't it? She's not so happy about it right now, but she was happy yesterday. So like I said, I highly recommend the race. It's not a closed course. It is absolutely beautiful. The pacers were great. I will definitely, it might be a marathon I run every single year. I had to pay $110, I believe, for the registration. But if you sign up early, it's $85. So that's pretty much it. I'm super excited about maintaining my progress and running an awesome Disney race in 2020. So pretty soon in January, we'll be running the Disney. So until then, you want to say bye?